Welcome back. Sexual abuse is actually pervasive in all countries and in all levels. Child sexual abuse is prevalent in Africa and is a public health epidemic plaguing Nigeria. Child sexual abuse usually occurs in a variety of settings like the home, school, work, especially in places where children labor is common. About 90% of child sexual abuse cases are perpetrated by people children actually know and trust, like their family members, relatives, friends, teachers, and people in position of authority. How do we curb child abuse in Nigeria? Why is it so rampant? And how do we protect our children? Joining us on the show is the wife of the senior pastor of the Fountain of Life Church, Pastor Mrs. Nomthi Odukoya, and a member, Antonia Ojenagwon. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So good to have you.
Thank you.
We talked about child abuse several times, but the thing is that we heard that you published a book, and we're like so excited. We realized that, and when we heard about the book, there was a word that was used, a revolution, and that really gingered us. So you know what? We need to actually key into that revolution, because that book was trying to tell us that you have to find a way to educate our children about sexual abuse. But before we even get into that, what exactly is sexual abuse for child abuse? Sorry, not sexual abuse, child abuse, and how do we even look for it in our children? Let's start with you, man.
Children are to be protected by adults.
Okay.
When adults do things to make children suffer, that's abuse.
Okay.
It could be neglect, it could be physical abuse, beating up children, and it could be sexual abuse, where they'll be fondling with children's private parts, they'll be showing them pornographic material, making them even look at their own private parts, even penetrating the children's private parts, all sorts. And that disturbs the children's mind forever, not just when they're children, because they can never forget all those experiences.
But a lot of people just don't know how to even observe, because I've always given a story before where I was in church, right? Yeah. And there was a woman in front of me, and and her daughter was right next to her to her left. And the man exactly behind her daughter was fondling with the girl like this. And the girl was like this, you know, someone is going on. The mother is there doing hallelujah. And the daughter is there doing like this. And I'm like, I just hit him up on the back. I thought, are you mad? And no person's daughter, you know? And the woman was there, she had no clue what was going on. But the girl to actually be having a great time, it showed that maybe it's not the first time, or maybe she's kind of used to that kind of thing. So a lot of mothers sometimes are not observant. How do we get mothers to be more observant?
I think talking about it, making them aware of these things, and also making them aware of the signs to look out for, because each mother should know their child, and the child should trust their parents, especially. So if you don't know your child, you don't spend any time with your children. There's an article I read that each parent should spend at least 8 minutes a day with each child to get to know the child better. 8 minutes, it's not much. You would get to know the child, talk about what happened in school, talk about any other thing. The child knows that you are there to hear them, even when they are. It's not only when there's an issue at hand that you start talking to your children. Everyday issues, they should know that they can trust you. And if you know your child, you can tell if something is wrong with them.
So let me come to Antonia before we come to the ladies here. What are your thoughts on this child abuse, and would you like to share anything on child abuse, on your experiences with us?
Child sexual abuse is very rampant. Most mothers are very busy now, not observant. The mothers of this generation are more observant than our mothers. Okay. Our mothers weren't told anything by their mothers. And some of us, our mothers got married very early. Like my mom got married at 14 and had me at 16. Wow. So I asked myself, what does a 60-year-old girl know? No, true. I didn't know anything about menstruation until I got to secondary school, because nobody told me anything. I didn't even know anything about wearing a bra, as little as wearing a bra, until I got to secondary school. It was a secondary school mate of mine that told me that you are supposed to be wearing bra. That was how I knew I was supposed to wear. My mom didn't tell me because she didn't know, not because she did not want to tell me. But I think that the mothers of this generation shouldn't make the same mistakes our mothers made. If we make the mistakes our mothers make, That's very devastating.
Right. I know we all grew up in Nigeria, and we all had some kind of knowledge of this thing existing. Ladies, let me throw this to you.
I want to ask this question. You know, most times when child molestation happens, it happens within the family, close family members, neighbors. Like there was a report this morning about a neighbor and a 3-year-old girl. Yeah. Now, how do you know who to, you know, to suspect when your child starts to exhibit this kind of things and the child not necessarily, maybe she can't express herself to say this is who is doing it, or when you see the signs, how do you know who to trust?
Sorry, before you go on, because of this question, I watched a TV program. She was 50 something. She was abused at between 4 and 6, and she forgot everything about it. But she'd been to 2 or 3 marriages. She hadn't, you know, she'd had a bad life, and she had to be hypnotized to remember that she was abused by her uncle between 4 and 6. She was constantly, and I was watching it, and I was watching, I was traumatized. Yeah. In this kind of situation, because the child will live, because the uncle had told her that the parents would die if the parents here. So she couldn't tell her parents. You know, she was too scared because she said
generally in the investigation, how do we even know who to accuse?
I would say, on that question, you can't know who the person is because, like you have said, it's especially most trusted people by the child. They go through a process called grooming. They make the children trust them. They're not violent people. They're not bad people. They are nice people. They are loving. They give children gifts. So you can't tell who the person is. That's why my concern was, how do we then teach our children about this? For me, it's mainly about teaching the children. Let them know so that when a person comes and tries to do any funny thing with them, they know how to
it's preventing it more than
actually finding out, because like that child, she blocked it out of her. So even if you asked her, she would not know because she just you know.
Stop, you want to say something?
I'd like to ask concerning there was a case that happened last year about a lady, a young girl in like 7-year-old spanking another girl's bum in the school, and the girl being taught that it was anybody that touches the private parts. It was a girl. The girl playfully spanked the bum. As the situation ensued in the school, it became a major issue that, it was sexually assaulting the girl. But that wasn't the idea. How do we define what is sexual assault as opposed to what is playing, and not putting the girl or the girl child on the defensive at every point in time, that anybody that touches me is trying to assault me sexually? How do we do that?
Yeah, but I think that a man hitting a woman, a child,
it was a girl. But they told the girl that it was sexual assault. Was 2 girls.
I would say there, in the book, I talk about good touches and bad touches. Some touches are bad, some are good. So when you talk to the children, you tell them that there are some touches which are not harmful, and there are touches which are harmful. So that will create a balance.
Okay, sorry. Do you you know, rename words? Because you know, when you want to describe the body parts to the girl child, do you have to, you know, sugarcoat them, or you know, look for more suitable words, or you just name it as it is? And
you name it as it is. When my children were growing up, because of what I went through, I always had it at the back of my mind. I didn't want any of my children to go through that. So from the age of 2, they knew the names. We never used the word PP in our house. It's a penis or a vagina. My daughter was 3 years old. A friend was bathing for her. I wasn't around. And she was going to wash up for her. I taught her from the very onset, she washes by herself. And as my friend was going to do it, and she told the auntie, don't touch my vagina. When I came back, my friend said, Tonya, what is this? She was just 3. And I said, that is the name, ma. I'm sorry, ma. That is the name. So you don't color the name. You don't say PP. And I think mothers should, you talk to your children.
We'll come back to that, because I know that this, because I would like to also share some examples that I know of. But let's take a quick break. When we come back, more on child abuse. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. We're still on this child abuse thing. Now, we all had some kind of experience, and I'd like to even share a bit of my experience. I know that growing up, the truth is I was in a car accident back in 1998, and during my car accident, I lost a bit of a memory. So the doctors even told me that for life, gradually the memory will be coming back in phases. I won't get everything back immediately. So I know that there's some parts of my past that I can't remember. But I know that when I returned home, there was a gentleman, there was a particular man that I saw. I've seen him only once I got back. And when I saw him, I started shaking. I got goosebumps. I was scared. My heart started beating fast. There was just something about the way he looked, and he was just looking at me and I'm like, hey, I hope this man has not pampered my life, because this man, I mean, I was just scared. So even just like you were saying that, you don't remember, but there's still that feeling of something happened to you. So someone like me now, do I have to go through psychological help to move on? Because I mean, I only saw him once, but I know that something happened. I could feel in my spirit that something happened with this guy.
How old were you then?
I can't even remember. But I think that was definitely before teenage. Maybe like
she's blocked it out.
I blocked it out, but I can't even remember nothing.
What happens to a lot of women who are sexually abused? They block it out of their memory, so they don't know. They just become, I won't call them misfits, but they just cannot conform to society.
There are certain areas of their life that they can't even reconcile. And they just live on like that. You know, in Nigeria, they just
try to forget about it.
So we don't know. The dangerous part is that they might now, start living that life, the things they suffered, doing it to others, continuing it. Because, it's there in their head.
Because when I was thinking about this thing, Nima, I was thinking about it, because when I was growing up, people used to think I was like this feminist woman. I hated men. I couldn't stand a man doing this. And I felt maybe that was probably what caused it, because I just had this thing. I was just a pro woman. Not that it was a bad thing to be pro woman, but there was this thing, was almost getting very. I was a chronic feminist. So I knew that there was that hate, and I had to go through a process to know that men are actually not bad. You can actually be friends. So it took me a process to understand that you can actually be friends with guys. But then I never just wanted to have male friends. So I knew something happened, but I just couldn't pin on it.
I actually read a story about a lady like that. She really forgot that anything ever happened to her, until one day when she was watching TV and somebody spoke about something, and that triggered it. And that's how she remembered. And there are some programs where people could go to and they could be helped to remember if anything ever happened to them. And that's if the thing is troubling you. If you think you're fine, the thing is not troubling you.
I think being that you're a spiritual person, you're a pastor. What do you think about seeking psychological help from psychiatrists? Because if somebody has experienced it, the research had so many dissociative disorder, memory loss, mental deficiency, there are a lot of psychological issues attached to child abuse, actually child sexual abuse. Now, if somebody has experienced that, and in Nigeria we tend to just go to the church, as a pastor, would you feel that church would solve the problem, or they should also seek medical, psychological?
They should definitely also seek medical help.
Okay.
Because God has given those medical practitioners wisdom to deal with such issues. God has given pastors spiritual wisdom to deal with it. There is a spiritual aspect of it. It's needed, but there's also that medical part of it.
Now, let's come to your book, because because the reason I saw the book, my daughter's school, her proprietor actually goes to your church. I think she's a pastor in your church. So she actually gave it to all the children in her school. And I came home, and myself and my husband went through the book, and we taught my daughter. We went through it with her. I think it was Ada and Ada. And it was pretty interesting. And I've tried really hard to teach my daughter. She knows her body parts, just like you said. I taught her a song which I was not consistent on. There was a song I came up with. My breast is your private. No, my breast, your breast is your private part. I can't even remember. My breast is my private part. My vagina is private part. Nobody can look at them or touch them till I'm married. That's the song.
Wow.
So we learned that song in the house, but I wasn't consistent. That was like last year. Now she's going to be 3 next week. But I think now that you said that, we should actually continue. And I have to continue that song and continue with that book. Because have you guys seen the book?
No.
We'll take a copy of the book and show us. But tell us what inspired that book, and tell us the things on that book. Let's talk about the book now.
One day, Tonya gave me a call, and she said she wanted to see me. She had gone to one state to talk to a group of girls, And when she spoke to the girls started asking her questions about and telling her about how their fathers are molesting them. She brought all those questions to me in their own handwriting, and it was really, really shocking.
Goodness me.
And I said, we need to do something about this. I took the matter up to the women in church. We always have women meetings. We started discussing it, and I threw it out to them. I said, let's think and pray about what we can do. I was even thinking about, thinking about perpetrators, that they should be jailed or something. But as I stayed in my corner and prayed about it, I heard clearly that I needed to write a book to create an awareness, because most times it takes children unawares. But if we...
Okay, I have a call. Let me take this call. Good morning, are you there?
Good
Victoria,
morning.
thanks for calling. Go ahead.
I'm a first-time caller.
Yay, welcome to the show.
Okay, I want to ask you what Dr. talked about a girl that was trying to call the book of another girl. You see, I think in that case, a girl should not even spank another girl on the book, because we know lesbianism and all that.
Lesbianism, okay.
So, yes. So some girls can abuse other girls too, sexually. So we should not rule this fact that it's only about the men.
Okay.
So even with their fellow girls in the school, they should also be careful with them.
Right. Yes. Okay.
Yes, that actually happened to me in school.
Thank you so much, Victoria.
This girl said, you know, we say, escort me to the toilet. So this girl said, escort me to the toilet, and I thought it was normal. Got to the toilet. She says, come in now. I said, come in where? Come in into the toilet. I said, why? And her face changed, and I was like, what? I said, no.
But how do we now prevent paranoia? Do you get what I'm saying?
That one wasn't paranoia.
No, I'm just saying, no, you get, I see people react. I wasn't a touchy person.
Two classmates were playing.
Let's not even isolate it to that. I'm just saying, I'm not a touchy person. I feel uncomfortable when people just hug me. It takes time for me to even warm up to someone instead of hugging the person. But I'm saying we will get to a point where we're so scared that, oh, this person is behaving funny. We just begin to see and suspect everybody. We shouldn't, I'm just scared. We should not encourage paranoia in the minds of our children into feeling that every adult that touches them or tap or just pats them
let me take
is
this
out
call.
to
sexually
abuse them.
Good morning, Alaba.
Good morning.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. No, I greet your girl, but I greet everybody there. Hello?
It greets everybody.
Hello. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah. What we don't need is education, senior education, like the one we are doing now.
Yes.
You can see other media that still be doing this. You know why you see most of 11, 12 years old girls, they carry baby up and down. Other time, when you go to the rural area, you find this kind of women there. But what I don't see they lack is the awareness that they are parents to them, that this is what we call it. This is what we call it.
Yes.
If
all right.
Education is there.
Thank you.
Believe all this kind of things, they don't be falling into this kind of.
Thank you so much, Alaba. We have to educate. I think that's what the book is about, because the book is Don't Touch Me There. I have a copy of the book with me. It says, Don't Touch Me There. But I wanted Antonia to share her experience with us, because I know that I heard the video. I know that you shared a bit of your experience in the video, in the video that I watched. And it was pretty interesting, because even me, last year, my daughter was bleeding from her private part. Oh my God, I wanted to die. Wow. I was like, what the heck is it? I saw my husband say, running hotel scatter. So I called the doctor. The doctor said, okay, come over. I said, you know what, I'm not coming over. Get the gynecologist to be waiting for us. I don't want GP. Gynecologist was there. So he got to the hospital, and he checked there. He said, okay, he took the swab. He said, okay, we'll do the test. Come back in 2 days. In that 2 days, hey, mountain of fire. Because every spirit, every demon, in fact, we started writing names of everybody that we know that have come to our house, everyone in the house, everybody, every process went through the audit, one by one, step by step. Who did she talk to? Who's talking to her? But we now found out it was just an infection. But we thank God it was an infection. But you see, at that moment, we knew that, okay, something might have happened. And we took action. So please share your stories. I shared mine, so you can share yours. All right? All right. So please go ahead, Antonia.
Okay. In 1992, I came to Lagos to stay with an uncle. One night I was sleeping and I felt a hand touch my breast. It was shocking to me because
How old were you?
I was 12. It was shocking to me because I grew up in a deeper life home, so we don't talk about private parts. We don't talk about private parts. We don't mention it in our house. Sex was never mentioned. I never heard it. So I was too shocked to even react. So the hand crawled from my breast to my vagina, and the fingering started. By the time I got up the following morning, shock was an understatement. I was devastated. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to talk to. So by the following morning, I saw the look and I knew where it was coming from. My most trusted. So I was showed a gun so I don't talk. So that was how, so that was how I kept quiet. For 13 years, my body was being ravaged and I couldn't do anything. Yes. One day, a friend just told me there was a new church. We should go to the church. We went to the church. They said, if you want to give your life to Christ. So I went out. So the pastor said he wanted to see us, to talk to us after the service. We went to his office. After talking, everybody was going out. He now said I should wait, that there was something I have to tell him. I've never seen him before. So I was wondering what I had to tell him. So he just told me, he said, somebody is doing this to you.
Go ahead.
And you don't know what to do. At that point, I just went on my knees and I started crying. Because I'd never seen this man before. I'd never spoken to anybody, and he just told me.
Let me pause you there, because we don't have a lot of time. In that kind of situation, Pastor, because a lot of young people going through this right now.
Yes.
And that's what this show is about.
Yes.
Not to publicize the book, but more to help people out there.
Yeah.
Now, there's a young girl out there going through this. What should they do? What's the next step?
They should tell any trusted adults around. It could either be their mom, aunt, whoever they trust.
Okay.
Because the person who would have offended them would be one of the persons they trust anyway. So they will still be as somebody else they trust.
Okay.
They should tell them. That's the
But
first
is there
thing.
a number they can call to go and meet somebody external? Is there something?
We have the hotline. Since this started, we have the hotline where people can call if this is happening to them.
We'll tweet that after the show.
Okay, we'll tweet
We'll
that.
tweet the number after the show.
Yes, but so
So for people who are not on Twitter, I think we should say it as well.
we say that we can get the number out there. Yeah, you can come on set. You can come on set. Go ahead. You can come on set. It's important. You can come on set. Is that important? Go ahead. Yeah. So please give us the number. Let people know, because there are young girls. Pick it up. There are young girls out there that need help. That are going through this, and they have uncles or brothers who are molesting them. Now, in situation whereby incest is happening, where is your father? What do you do? Like, that's your father, and your mother only trusts your father. You go to your mother, she's not likely to back you up. What do you do? Antonia?
In that case, you also look for a trusted adult. An auntie, there must be somebody you trust.
You didn't have a trusted auntie. You was church you eventually went to.
Yes, you talk to your pastor. Because your father does not have the right to ruin your life. Your father is messing up your head. Your father does not have the right. One of the girls in Ekiti, she asked me a question. She said, you said we should talk to our mothers. What if your mother is the one sexually harassing you? At that point, I stood up out of shock. Because I know about fathers and uncles, but I've never heard about mothers. This thing it's a cankerworm that is really eating deep. Now, the Fountain of Life Church has a hotline you can call for counseling, because nobody has any rights to ruin your life. You have a right to live a beautiful life. You have a right to live a beautiful life. Because if this girl gets married like that, the husband will suffer. A lot of men are going through stuff, they can't talk. The women are just maltreating the guys. If I married somebody who was a bad guy, I'm sure I would have killed him. The first night of the wedding, I told the person who married me, I said, please, can you do me a favor? Let us live like brother and sister. Because I just could not imagine
another person.
Yes. It went as far as when I was going to have my first child, I insisted my husband should be there because I didn't want to stay alone with a male doctor. The fear was too much. So,
all right, we have to take a quick break because the atmosphere is getting very, very tense. I can actually cut a knife through it. So let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll now see the solutions, the phone numbers, we'll give you the numbers, even the book. I'll tell you where you can get the book because your children need to learn and read this book. You need to walk through it with them. So stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. All right, so we're still on this matter. Let's start with the hotlines because, as I said, a lot of people out there want help. Yes, tell me about the hotlines.
You can call 081 82 84 2440.
I think our producer also scrolled the number. We put this number on the screen. Please go ahead. Say it one more time.
081 828 42440.
Okay.
Or 090 286 83605.
Great.
Sorry, repeat the second number again.
090 286 83605.
So these are the numbers you can call if you are going through for counseling, if you're going through any of this sexual abuse from anybody, and you need somebody to talk to.
And then you can also go to the Mirabel Center if you think that you've been really abused and you want justice.
Yes.
They'll get your evidence.
The Mirabel Center is where you go to, like, once you've been abused, you can actually go there and they'll take all the samples, everything right there. They'll get
even with they deal with molestation too. Oh, wow. It's at Lagos State Teaching Hospital here at Ikeja.
Fantastic. So this book, Don't Touch Me There. I have 2 copies in the house, and I'm not here to promote your book, but the truth is that every child or every parent should have a copy of this book to help to teach your children how to identify their body parts. It is not boobs, it's not chest, it's not bum, it is breasts, it is penis, it is vagina. You gotta say it the way it is, so they know. So when somebody touches them, they know. Mommy, they touched my breast. You know, it's very, and as little as 2 years old, right? You start telling these children. Now, another question I like to have to ask our guest today is, if you're a parent and you know your child has been abused and you don't even know how to handle it, you don't even know, you are too embarrassed, you're too ashamed to stop. What do you do also? Can you also call these numbers? And as I'm calling these numbers, as a parent, what should you do? What should you know? How do you address it? How do you address it?
Because it's really hard for parents. Most times they feel guilty that they were not there to protect their children. The parents can also call this number because they also need counseling. And they also need to be taught how to handle the child. For instance, if the child tells you, you should it's advised that you find somebody else to talk to the child so that you're not the one to investigate the matter further, because you are likely to show your shock and your worry and effort, which will scare the child, and the child will not be able to open up to you. And can I quickly point out that it's not only for girls, the boys as well. They say 1 in 3 girls and 1 in 6 girls would have been molested by the age of, before they reach the age of 16. And the boys are less likely to tell. So the boys should not be left out. I spoke to one lady recently. She was abused. So she was so protective of her daughter. But she said she didn't know until we spoke about this. She didn't know that she also needed to protect her son. When she heard that the boys can also be molested, she was in shock. Like, oh, God helped her that the boy was fine.
I know a lot of boys who were molested by their nannies. A lot of boys. But there's, like, because we're not supposed to talk about marriage, but there's this person that has been tweeting to me, and he's been asking me because he knows this young girl who her father is forcing into marriage, and she's underage, and the girl can't do anything. She's just crying and crying. Could I give that kind of person your number?
Yes. Okay.
Let's take some tweets. I'm not going to let's address some tweets.
Okay. Barnabas Oluwale says, one of the causes of child sexual abuse is leaving your children with someone over and over. That creates room for it. E.J. Florence says, good morning. It has to start from the parents. They should watch their friends because some of our parents' friends are devils.
Then Dami says, hawking should be banned. It promotes sexual abuse because as a child, I did hawk and I know what I experienced.
Interesting.
And that brings me to something I wanted to talk about, because in our Nigeria particularly, we have this extended family setting where you have uncles and family cousins living with you, people that you think these are people you can trust your child with. And then I had a friend when I was quite young whose mother died, and she was forced to live with her stepmom who made her hawk. One of those hawking expeditions around Yaba, she was raped severally and she got pregnant. And the solution for the father was to just marry her off with the pregnancy because, they didn't support it.
Let me take this call from Yakub. Good morning, Yakub. Are you there?
I'm there. Good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead, please.
And then good morning to everybody.
Good morning.
This topic today is so touching because a lot of this kind of thing is going on in the country. Are you getting it now? Yes. But the thing that I want us to think about is that this question this morning is that we need to learn. The question is this: as a mother, I'm not talking about father now. As a mother,
the mother should be very, very close to their children. And then to also be a friend, close friend to their children, because the children should have access to the mother more than father, because father can be doing anything rubbish. Are you getting it now? Because if your daughter or a son is a friend to you as a mother, he can go ahead, he or she can go ahead and tell you anything that is going on within the environment. Even if their father is abusing her, are you getting it? He can be able to come up and say, "Mother, come, my father is doing this." A case whereby a father is abusing a child, and then the child is afraid of her mother. How is he going to cope? That is why I'm saying that a mother should be very close.
You're very right. Thank you so much, Jacob.
But I think we should correct something, because most men tend to believe that it is a job of the mother at every point in time to caution the children. It is both of you brought these children into this world. Both of you should take responsibility. Both of you should spend 8 minutes at least every day and be close to your child. Because like he said, like she said, like Antonia said, Sister Antonia, she said that the women too can be molesting the child. So it might as well be both ways. So let's not push it to the woman or to the man.
Minutes. If you spend 8 minutes and your husband spends it, that's 16 minutes.
And the child has love.
I mean, women also have to be very, just like we said here, very observant, because I know that a lot of women forget their responsibilities. I mean, we're busy, just like you said, it's a modern world, we're busy, but just like 8 minutes is very, very important per day. Even if you come back home late, but sometimes you come back home late, your children are already sleeping. In that kind of situation, what do you do?
I'm sure you can even call them whilst they are still awake. I had a friend whose mom, then it wasn't the times of mobiles, but their mom made sure she communicated with them. They would write letters. It made it like fun. I'm writing a note from mom telling her what happened in school today, and your mom will reply you. But there are mobile phones. You can call your child.
Well, so it's not like me. I think I'm getting a bit too paranoid, a lot of, because ordinarily when my daughter went for a birthday party, right? And they have this bouncy castle, all the children that bouncing, and I just kept going to people to make sure, okay, what's going on, what's going on. You know how this children will be calling, not kind of. That's what my daughter and one little boy in one corner like me, father. So one little boy was really hugging up on her. I was not wondering. I didn't want to enter because I didn't need a dog.
Your daughter is 2+.
So I was observing. I stood there. I was watching. When I got, I now saw where the little boy went. I was going, okay, this is your mother. I was saying, hey, this is your little son. He was actually hugging up on my daughter. I'll tell your son. No. He now came to the little boy. Came to me. No, auntie. I stepped on her. That's why I came to hug her. I stepped on her. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I didn't want to blind anything. No vex.
No, we should not fear.
Sure please,
we should not fear. We should not.
Because sorry, Mariah, that's a really good point, because a lot of children who maybe they've witnessed their parents, they now start doing what they witnessed with their
and
friends.
This mommy and daddy play that they always do.
Exactly my point. I wanted to talk about this. Sorry.
So your daughter has been taught now. You know, she knows how to fight for herself now. She can scream if anything happens. That's the main thing. Keep teaching them so that they know what to do in that kind of situation. I think we should also
discourage parents from allowing our neighbors called our children my wife. All those kind of things, because you know at the end of the day, you know I'm your husband.
No sitting on uncle's laps. Did you hear that? Antonia said no sitting on uncle's laps. No over touching. In fact, go ahead.
If an uncle comes into your house and you say, sweetie, hug your uncle, and she reacts in a way, don't force that child. Don't force the child. You don't know what that uncle has done.
Even
let your children. Sorry, ma'am.
We have to round up. Sorry, so I don't have a lot of video. Final words, madam.
I was saying, even the doctor, because in the UK there is an issue which came up recently that the doctor was molesting the children. The parents would be sitting in the waiting area. He would just draw the curtain and do whatever. The child would scream. They would not want to go see the doctor, but you would think the child is just scared of the doctor. You know, you have to know your child. Talk to them. It's important. Let them have that trust in you to open up to you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you, Antonia. Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you very much.
Ladies, it's been a great show. Don't forget to watch the repeat broadcast of this program at 11:30 p.m. tonight. Tomorrow is the day for Occupy Nigeria Remembrance. So don't watch. That is, I mean, last 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, no, 2 years ago. Occupy Nigeria. That was a turning point in Nigeria. In us coming out and expressing ourselves to the government. So it just, I think that's tomorrow. We're going to just talk about that a bit tomorrow. And we're also expecting Ambode, the APC gubernatorial candidate. We're expecting him to come tomorrow. So stay tuned. Tomorrow is going to be a great show. You can also watch previous episode on YouTube by going to YouTube/TV Entertainment. Don't forget, your vote is your right. Don't waste it. Use it wisely. God bless you. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.